Ryomen Sukuna cannot defeat Gojo Satoru, at least without the 10 shadows. This video is not any sort of agenda pushing or trolling, this is just all facts. I will go over the multiple reasons why Sukuna needs Mahoraga to beat Gojo. And before you go any further, just know that there is going to be spoilers from the chapter 232 of Jujutsu Kaisen. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, and I'm trying to reach 2,000 subscribers before the end of the year, but only sub if you enjoy my content. Let's try to get this video to 100 likes for any video you suggest. With all this out the way, let's get into it. First, we need to analyze what has already happened in the fight. And the first thing to acknowledge is that Gojo has been outclassing Sukuna in almost every single category. Gojo has been dominating the hand-to-hand sequence of the fight, and after rereading the fight, you realize that Sukuna has not landed one punch on Gojo. Every single one of them has been successfully blocked or dodged. On the other hand, Gojo has been trashing Sukuna around, whether it's by landing multiple clean punches to the face and to the body, or to even throw him around the city multiple times. But I will admit that Sukuna has been doing a decent job defensively. Even though he keeps getting overwhelmed, he's still able to react to most of Gojo's attacks. Next, we gotta talk about the domain battles. While a lot of people didn't really like that part, I thought it was really interesting. It is true that the way the fight is going right now is way better, but that first part was also very important. Instead of classifying this as a brainless domain spam, I'd rather call it a battle of intelligence. Both of them kept trying to outsmart each other. While a domain outer shell is pretty weak, Sukuna having the bigger domain could just destroy Gojo's barrier from the outside. Gojo then had to keep up with the second strongest domain in the series for a long time. He then casted another domain, but this time with a stronger outer shell. Sukuna, being as smart as he is and knowing how Gojo domain works, it decided to deactivate Malevolent Shrine inside Gojo's barrier and making it stronger outside, for it to be strong enough to destroy even the enhanced barrier. But while cancelling his domain inside the barrier, it decided to touch Gojo, because anybody that is in contact with Gojo would not be hit by the sure hit effect. And in the end, Gojo came out on top, I would say, because the brain damage Gojo sustained was due to himself, while the damage that Sukuna sustained was due to Gojo's domain. But we could really call this a tie if you wanted to, because no matter how many times Sukuna destroyed Gojo's domain, it doesn't matter because he didn't do anything. In the end, they both took the same amount of damage. But now it's time to talk about the reason why Sukuna in Yuji's body or in the era could not beat Gojo. The answer to that is very simple: infinity. For the people that think that Sukuna does not need Mahoraga to bypass infinity, you're wrong. As seen in the past chapters, Sukuna is not strong enough to defeat Gojo without a technique. And if it came down to them fighting with just their hands, Gojo will win the fight, as seen at the end of the chapter 232 when Gojo knocked out Sukuna with a black flash. And by knocked out, I mean his eyes turned white. For the longest, I believed that this was impossible. I thought this would be the type of fight where you cannot knock the opponent out, the only thing you can do is kill him. But Gojo has proven me wrong once again, being able to throw an attack strong enough to knock Sukuna out without killing him. And even though Sukuna got saved by Mahoraga twice, that is not what I mean when I say that he needs him to beat Gojo. Allow me to explain. As we all know, you cannot use your domain amplification and your innate technique at once. We know that from the fact that every time Sukuna uses amplification, the will turns black and stops adapting. There's also the fact that it was stated in the series multiple times, and the fact that Hanami had to deactivate amplification before using her own technique on Gojo. Now I think we all know that Sukuna did not use his slashes a lot outside of his domain, and that he didn't use his fire-related curse technique once in the fight. This is due to the fact that Gojo's infinity will simply counter it, and since he cannot use his curse technique and domain amplification at the same time, he has no way to deactivate Gojo's infinity while using the technique. This is why he needs Mahoraga to adapt to the limitless, and once Gojo's infinity becomes ineffective, Sukuna can then hit him with his own technique. And for that reason alone, Sukuna could not defeat Gojo without Mahoraga. We also know what happens when Sukuna tries to fight without the curse technique. The crazy part is, even when he had the wheel on his back as a countdown, Gojo managed to knock him out before that. And for the people that like to pretend that Sukuna in the Heian era was way stronger than he is right now, this is simply not true, at least unless proven otherwise. The same goes for the people that are saying that Sukuna is still missing a finger. As it was stated multiple times, Sukuna's host hitting the fingers would restore his power. He never said it would make him stronger. And by assuming that everyone knows the meaning of restore, and that Sukuna already restored all of the power that he had back then, what else is there to restore? Now I don't know, maybe I can be proven wrong in the future, but if we're simply using logic, the last finger does not matter, and I hope Gege keeps it that way. Now, even though I said that there were more important reasons than Mahoraga saving Sukuna, it is still a very good point to bring. I'm not going to count the Infinite Void part because Sukuna planned it on purpose. Sukuna used Megumi's soul to take the damage as well as use Mahoraga to adapt to Infinite Void. But this time, this for sure wasn't a part of his plan. Gojo outsmarted Sukuna with a crazy combo. And when I say crazy combo, I mean this was beautiful. By shooting a reversal red around the building, for it to come back around and hit Sukuna in the back, for him to fall right into a black flash from Gojo. This right there was just excellent. He really hit him with a back shot into a black flash. But yeah, I'm getting distracted. So my point here was Sukuna was planning to use the will to adapt to Gojo. And before he could even fully adapt, Gojo outsmarted him, punched him in the stomach and knocked him out cold. And this just shows that Sukuna had no control on this because the will clearly falls off his head. It just happened to be the perfect moment for the will to spin a 4th time, allowing Mahoraga to come out and slice Gojo. Since he is now fully adapted to infinity, Mahoraga can now reach Gojo. There's another thing that I cannot understand. Why are people saying that Gojo is about to die? The first thing that comes to my mind is that this is the 5th time that we're about to get baited about Gojo's death. I'm not saying that it's completely impossible for him to lose right there, but I'm saying this seems very unlikely. And this is way less threatening than any other death flag. The nosebleed is when you knew that Gojo was actually tired. Gojo falling to the ground is when you knew that it would have been over if Sukuna wasn't tired as well. Or even Gojo's neck getting sliced without knowing anything that happens after. This is just Gojo being hit while Mahoraga is adapted to his infinity. And on the last panel, it looks like a smile on Gojo's face. I can actually see Gojo taking out Mahoraga next chapter. But now that Sukuna is fully adapted, he can now use his technique and he doesn't need Mahoraga anymore. He is now going to use more of the other shadows, more of the slash attacks or even the fire curse technique. And I believe now the fight is going to be more equal, if not in Sukuna's favor. Because until now, Sukuna has just been getting trashed around. But it's understandable because it is due to Gojo's hacks. Which brings us to another question. Is Sukuna a fraud? Because with this recent chapter, there are no new allegations and I can already hear the Mickey Mouse music. But for me personally, my opinion is not changing. Everything I said in the Sukuna video about him being misunderstood and not necessarily being a fraud, it still stands. All he did was prove my point once again. He's shameless and he's going to do anything he needs to do to win this fight. And in the end, the title of the strongest is not going to whoever played by the rules, but to whoever won the fight. But I gotta admit, even though I love Sukuna, I still hate him for this. But I mean, that's the whole point of a villain, so I guess he's doing his job. But now I really wonder what will happen in the next chapter. Is Sukuna about to wake up right away? Or will Mahoraga be able to stall long enough for him to come back? Because I refuse to believe that Mahoraga will be enough to beat Gojo. Sukuna will have to wake up, and now that he has access to all of his techniques, things are going to be different. Do I still believe in Gojo? Yes. And people also forget that with Black Flash, Gojo is now in the zone, meaning that he'll be even stronger than he was until now. It wouldn't make sense for him to lose right away. I still have trust in my GOAT as he said he would beat Sukuna, and even recently, he had to reiterate. The first time he simply said nah, I'd win, but now this is more serious. I will win. That's how serious he is right now. But to be honest, props to Sukuna for being a good villain. Props to him as well for being that smart and holding his own in the hand-to-hand fight against the GOAT. Let me know what you think of this video. This time it's not just my opinion, it's just facts. Sukuna cannot beat Gojo without Mahoraga. But let me know how you feel about this. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, and I'm trying to reach 2,000 subscribers before the end of the year. But only subscribe to my channel if you enjoy the content that I put out. In the comments you can give me criticism or suggestions for future videos. I appreciate y'all for making it to the end, and I will see y'all next time. Peace.